Going to be taking a slow start this morning. I'm starting 10 minutes early so that everyone can have time to see the notification and migrate this way. I am here today with my good friend Casket King 00.
Hello.
And anyone on the rewatch, just so you know, we're going to be just letting Casket kind of give a little introduction of who he is. And then we're going to talk about the importance of self honesty when it retains to the mental health field and other parts of life as well, and how they are not mutually exclusive. That's kind of the topic for tonight. And I hope that you all enjoy it. So, Casket, can you just give us a brief description of, like who you are, what you do?
Yo, what up, everybody? My name's Casket King. I'm a YouTuber slash streamer. Find me on YouTube. And yeah, I stream every day. Sometimes I put out a video.
Hmm. Cool.
You,
How long have you
you
been a
might know
YouTuber?
me. You might know me from my meme. You just got breaded.
Yeah, really popular back in the mid 20 teens. What's something else people may know you from?
How to rub your pumpkin.
How to rub your pumpkin. Classic, classic, classic. Cool. So today you're going to be joining me in talking about the importance of self honesty, and so we're just going to have it back and forth, and we're going to kind of chill and read the comments and interact with them as we kind of go through the topic. How's that sound to you, King?
Sounds good to me, man.
Cool, bro. What the heck was that?
I was taking a hit.
Okay, here, there. Let's see here before we get started. All right, so the importance of being honest with yourself. Like can you tell me, do you think the average person has things that they just don't want to acknowledge?
Yeah, I think so.
Like being honest with yourself can be a great way to understand strengths and challenge areas, in my opinion. I mean, what do you think? Let's hear your opinion about self-honesty.
Well, I try to be as honest with myself as possible.
Hmm. And how does that usually go with you? Like, can you give us an example of when you try to be as honest as you can be?
Well, it's like when I'm eating something I know I shouldn't. It's like I know I shouldn't be eating it, and I'm like, I really shouldn't be eating this.
But can we explore the reason as to why you shouldn't be eating this? Like, what makes you say, no, I shouldn't be eating this?
Well, well,
Yeah.
there's just some things I shouldn't eat.
Hmm. For maybe health reasons,
Yeah,
or
definitely for health reasons.
maybe it's an allergy or something of that nature. Like I know there's people out there that are allergic to chocolate, but they still will eat it and then face the consequences of being allergic to chocolate, right?
Uh huh.
Yeah, like that's the thing. Another common allergy is peanut butter. That one's usually a little more severe, but one thing that I have noticed is like humans are really good at ignoring things about themselves that they want to ignore. Right? We're really good at that. It's kind of an ingrained an ability that we all have because our ego wants to believe that we're Superman and that we can afford to ignore things, right?
Hmm.
But sometimes that's not the full picture. Would you agree?
That is true.
Yeah. So I mean, let's.
No.
Oh, that's
Sorry
Mama
about that.
King. It's no problem. Mama King has entered the chat.
We got a comment here from Monica. It says, "Eat a dog."
Monica, he's not going to eat the dog. Oh, Monica. So when it comes to being honest with oneself, the most important part is, like, let's say here's a common one. People who have hypertension or high blood pressure oftentimes will ignore it because there's no symptoms until there's big problems, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they'll oftentimes go out of their way to ignore these symptoms because it doesn't immediately impact their day-to-day life. So they think they can, and it usually results negatively if they don't catch it in time, like heart disease or stroke or heart attack, right? But right so far we've been talking about physical aspects of the being honest with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But the importance of being honest with yourself goes beyond the physical realm, right?
Oh yeah.
Like when it comes to knowing who you are mentally, knowing your strengths and your challenges, and being honest with it. Like, for example, one of the greatest things you can do is recognize whenever you may have some sort of mental behavioral problem, right? Being honest with yourself about it, like saying, "Hey, sometimes I find it hard to control my anger." Because
Uh-huh.
until you can recognize and be honest with yourself about certain conditions, then there's nothing that you can really treat, because things can only be treated in a manner in which they are recognized and treatment is wanted. So if you can't recognize when there's a problem or a challenging or factor that there may, you may benefit from slight changing, then you can't really do anything about it. So self honesty really plays into the idea that the more honest that you can be with yourself, the better you can be at knowing who you are. There's never well, what do you think about that, Casket?
I agree completely.
Yeah, I can't imagine a scenario where not knowing where knowing less about yourself can be more beneficial. You
Yeah.
know,
Why would you want to know less about yourself? If anything, you should want to know more.
yeah. Like, well, let's explore that. Go a little deeper, Casket.
I don't know if I could figure out all my problems and actually know them. I think I would do that.
Yeah, like the importance of self honesty is allowing yourself the capability of observing who you are from the viewer. Like I've stated before, you have the viewer. He's the one who watches everything. Like, for example, you're not your emotional state. You're not. And here's how I know that: because you can recognize it and choose not to act on it, right?
Right.
So you are the observer, observing the emotional state that is currently present within your body. Or the fact that you can observe, mental clarity problems. You're the observer observing through the biomechanical structure in which you inhabit. Does that make sense?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, like you're the guy you're like, okay, let me put this in other terms. You are the Power Ranger inside the Megazord.
Ah, I see.
Yeah, like you are the Power Ranger inside the Megazord, and the Megazord has the ability to experience emotions, and you can read them on the screen and understand the emotions and its thoughts, but you don't have to act on them. You can be separate from that. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so by understanding your body, the bio machine that you work through better, you can understand how to properly negate certain maybe personality traits that you choose to be less desirable for yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, there's three, like I've stated before, in my, like what actually is self care. There's three main areas. There's physical, mental, and emotional, and the observer can view all three of those. You know, and so when you can be honest with yourself, and if you choose to ignore symptoms or behaviors, then that's your ego protecting you to say, no, you're awesome, you got this. Because when we were cavemen, it was vitally important for us to have that ego to say, yeah, I can go catch that other turtle, I got this, let me go get my spear and catch that turtle. Got it. Like, you needed that little ego boost in your mind to really get you, to hype you up for the next hunt and things of that nature. You know what I mean? Does that make sense, King? Casket.
Yeah, sorry, I had to mute myself for a second.
Yeah, we're blazing. By the way, how many comments do we have? I just heard a second one.
Just the two.
Yeah, whenever you see a comment pop up, go ahead and give them a shout out and read it, okay, Casket?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, we're having a great day over here talking about mental health.
Yeah, it's also Mario Day.
It is Mario Day. Happy Mario Day, King.
Happy Mario Day, Krusty.
Yeah. We will discuss Mario at some point for Mario Day. But I want to get back on the importance of self honesty, and we can, and we'll. I kind of want to walk and explore this a little more. How's your mom doing, by the way?
Not well.
No. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. I hope that her days are better ahead of her.
She'll be better by tomorrow.
Great. How's the move going?
Good, good. We probably take some more stuff tomorrow.
Great. That'll be fun. See, well, so when it comes to self honesty, since you are the observer and you are the one who observes your mental state, your emotional state, and your physical state, it is up to you, the observer, to recognize whenever there's some sort of imbalance that may be occurring within that structure. And by doing so, you can implement techniques to change it. Like I previously stated, someone who is easy to anger, by recognizing that, if they can recognize that they become angry pretty easily, then they can start receiving some sort of treatment method or modality in order to lower their levels of aggression. Or maybe someone is honest and realizes that they are a doormat and they are a pleaser, a people pleaser. And so they can be, by being honest and doing check-ins and being honest with yourself, maybe they realize, oh, I am being walked all over, and maybe that's not good for me to be walked over, you know?
Uh,
Yeah. By being honest with yourself, you are empowering yourself to make changes, because whenever you're honest and you choose to view the things about yourself that you may not find suitable for you, what you're doing is you're taking control of who you are. Instead of being an observer that's sitting back and watching as things happen and as you go through the motions, you are deciding to take the reins of and control over aspects that you may not agree with as the observer, and you will be implementing different techniques in order to hopefully mitigate those negative actions or consequences due to actions that you don't agree with. And, excuse me. And the beauty of that, here's people find this incredibly challenging.
it can be.
Yeah. Well, why do you think it would be challenging, Casket?
Well, like you said, like somebody who deals with anger, I have an anger issue,
Hmm.
and I try to be honest with myself about it. And most of the time, I can recognize I'm getting angry right now, and I need to stop.
Hmm. Let's walk through that process. Like, what is like? Tell me, what are you feeling in your body? What's your emotions? What is your mind thinking whenever you recognize that moment?
I don't know. It's just like my blood pressure starts going up, and I just start recognizing, oh, I'm starting to get really mad. I should probably chill out. There's no real reason for me to be this mad.
So you are observing your emotional state changing in a way that you don't find suitable for you.
Uh, I guess.
Yeah, because you're observing your emotional state and you're choosing to, uh, I guess, disarm your anger. You're cutting the wick off of the bomb, and you're saying we're not going to do that, right?
Oh, we got a message from Ross. Says, "Hey,
Hey, Ross, I hope you're having a great day. We're talking about the importance of self honesty and how it may be hard for people to be honest with themselves, but by doing so, you're actually strengthening who you are. And Casket was just sharing that sometimes he has anger and it results in him sometimes getting losing control, and sometimes he recognizes when he's getting angry. And that's kind of what we're talking about right now. Um, so like sometimes you get angry and you don't like it when you're angry.
yeah, I really don't like it when I'm angry. I don't like being that person."
You don't. Well, here's the thing, you're not that person. You're the observer, right? I mean, you literally told me that you felt yourself getting angry. You felt the anger.
Uh,
Yeah, so you're not the anger. You felt it. So it's not a part of you. It's something that's happening within you, right?
I don't know. In the past, I used to be just kind of naturally angry all the time.
Hmm. How's that changed?
Well, I think I've calmed down a little in life. I'm
Yeah.
more chill, not as angry.
So as you've calmed down, it's become easier to notice when anger does start to occur.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And so how has your life improved from being honest with yourself in that way?
Well, I definitely know when to shut my mouth.
Hey, there is power in silence.
That is true.
There is power in silence. Instead of saying something that may be regrettable later, you've chosen a nobler path of silence and self regulation. And the only way you were able to come to the conclusion that your anger is a problem is because you were honest with yourself to say, I don't like it when I'm this way. So I'm going to pay attention to when I'm this way and try to change that. Right?
Uh huh.
That goes now. Here's that goes a long way. Being honest with yourself, a lot of what happens is people don't want to recognize when there's something about them that they feel uncomfortable about. They people tend to just want to stay away from those thoughts as much as humanly possible. Whether it be anger, anxiety, maybe or it could be sexuality as well. Maybe someone's gay, but they're in an environment to where they are not able to be honest with their sexuality, so they don't even think about it. You know what I mean?
Uh huh.
Yeah, and then they lived a suppressed life, which can also have negative consequences.
Oh, for sure.
Hmm. So, what happens is when you take someone and you challenge them to be honest with themselves, what you're actually telling them is, I want you to be responsible and I want you to recognize what you're doing great, and what you may feel as though you need work on. And that requires being comfortable with being uncomfortable, right?
Uh,
You have to sit there and just be comfortable with being uncomfortable, and you have to live in that moment and
yes.
recognize. Hmm?
Sometimes being honest with yourself is not easy.
No, it's not. But I believe that it is a path to self discovery.
Yes.
And whenever someone takes the steps to be honest with themselves, whether it be with most emotional regulation, whether it be with their certain lifestyle that they may not find suitable for them, whether it be with their sexuality, whether it be with any form or part of their life, what you're doing is you're saying, all right, you don't like this about you or your situation or environment or your sexual desire, or your not desires, but sexual, like, like privacy. So what it results in is you're telling them, all right, now that you've recognized it, you have to have some sort of accountability to yourself. And that's the hard part, because once you choose to acknowledge it, you have to become accountable for it by the nature of acknowledging it. Does that make sense?
I'm gonna be honest with you, man. For like the last 30 seconds, I kind of spaced out. I had to fix my glasses today with super glue,
Hmm.
so I've had a lot of close contact with super glue today, and I'm might be a little bit high.
Are you okay, buddy?
I, dude, I'm cross-faded, man. I've been smoking, and I might be a little high on super glue fumes.
Well,
Unwillingly, may I add.
okay. Well, I appreciate your honesty, buddy. Um, Jeez, that's sounds like you're having a night over there.
Yeah.
But in the chat, if you want to talk about times where you were been honest with yourself and the importance of self honesty, we would love to hear it. I know I certainly would. By sharing experiences, we can see that there's a community of people who can realize they're not alone. By fostering a healthy community where people can be honest with themselves. And if you're comfortable sharing it, we would love to read it on the channel.
I have a story I can share.
Okay, by all means.
This is a time I got angry.
Yeah.
Although I think this was a time it was rightfully so. But I got so angry. I like passed out for half a second. I didn't fall down, but I caught myself like halfway down.
Hmm.
That was scary.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
I thought like days later I thought to myself, I never want to be that angry again.
So that was your like one of your deciding moments.
Yeah.
Wow. Thank you for sharing. I appreciate that, Casket.
I feel like my real turning moment though
Yeah.
was probably around 2019. I think I just finally like mellowed out and I'm like, I don't want to be this angry, hateful person anymore.
Hmm. Well, I appreciate you sharing, but like I said, whenever you are honest with yourself, it it's a natural response that you now have to take self accountability for that action.
Uh huh.
Once you shine light on it and it's no longer in the dark, then what happens in the light has to be a byproduct of your decision. And maybe being honest with yourself is coming to the conclusion that using drugs is putting you in a position that you don't want to be in. Or maybe being honest with yourself is saying, I've been married for 20 years, but I'm gay and I've always been gay. And I did this because I wanted to make my parents happy, right? Or, I mean, it can be a number of things, but once you shine light on it and you openly speak it aloud to yourself, then it can't it once it's in the light, like you have to decide what you're going to do about it. Am I going to make changes? Am I going to do something about it? Am I not going to do something about it? All three are choices. Like even not doing something is still an active choice in that scenario. Once you've shined light upon the thing that you may have not been honest with yourself about, right?
Uh,
For me, it was whenever I was losing my eyesight, I was in denial about being blind, and I would run into stuff, and I waited far too long to start using a blind cane because I was self-conscious, right? Oh, people are going to look at me weird if I'm using a blind cane. People are going to think different of me or lesser of me. These are all notions that were perceived within my mind, not reality. But in my mind, that's what I thought because that was me projecting on myself. Because I didn't realize it at the time, but I was biased towards people with disabilities. I was. And so I was biased against myself because those were the thoughts that at the time I would have had if I saw someone with a blind cane, which means I was kind of a shitty person and I had some work to do on me. And once I shined light on that and I came to that conclusion, I was like, wow, I really don't like having that like innate stigma about people with disabilities in my mind. I don't like thinking those things about other people. And so I had to do the work. I had to do the work to program, re-educate myself to a point to where I didn't have those thoughts. I didn't have those emotional ties to individuals such as myself, right? Because I mean, self-hatred is absolutely a thing. And so it took me a while to get to the point to where I didn't have those thoughts and ideas because they come from somewhere. If you're sitting there saying, "Oh, I don't like people who," or like, "Oh, I may think lesser of people who use a blind cane." For me, what it was is, "Oh, I didn't think that they were lesser, like they weren't qualified, they weren't as good of a human." But I could see myself pandering to people that had disabilities, in a way like you would a child. And I didn't want to be pandered to in such a way. If I guess that's a better way of describing it. So instead, I would walk around dangerously where I couldn't see obstacles without a cane, and I'd run into shit all the time and putting my life in jeopardy because I could have, who knows? Now, obviously, I'm still here today, but once I was willing to be honest with myself and realized that the idea of being pandered to, I hated because I was projecting what I thought other people would think because that's what I thought. Like that's some meta shit right there. And once I got to that perspective and that point, that's whenever I was able to implement like things to actually grow as a person. Because to grow is to be honest with yourself. You can't grow as a person if you're not honest with yourself,
that's
right?
true.
So you, it's yeah, and so it is empowering to recognize areas where you have challenges. It is totally okay too, and it's 100% normal to have areas like that. By the way, don't think lesser of yourself for having some sort of like biased thoughts and things of that nature. Everybody does it to some degree, and it's great if you can recognize it. Because when
Yeah,
you can,
I do it.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm very biased against a certain group of people.
yeah, you don't like being that way, do you?
No, I don't.
Well, good. I'm glad. Have you tried to implement like what is it? So you're biased towards a certain group of people. I want to ask why.
I just, I have a strong dislike for them,
Mm-hmm.
and I just feel like they make me look bad.
Mm-hmm. So what I'm hearing is that it's due to an insecurity you have within yourself.
Yes,
So you have a bias tendency towards certain people because you have an insecurity problem.
yes.
Yeah, so let's talk about that insecurity because that's where the thing really lies. Let's be honest about it. What are you insecure about? What is it about them that makes you look bad that you are insecure about?
Oh, just I hate other fat people,
Mm-hmm.
especially if they're like, "Oh, I weigh 600 pounds and I'm proud of it. Look at me."
Mm-hmm.
And that just infuriates me because it's like I weigh 400 pounds, and I'm like so miserable thinking, how could anyone want to live like this and be happy about it?
Mm-hmm. So you're unsatisfied with your weight.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And that's something that you would want to actively change about yourself.
Uh
Well, once you right now, I know you're in the middle of going through um, Maslow's hierarchy of needs. You're trying to get safety as covered. You're literally trying to get moved into a place. So right now may not be the time to address those issues in a manner that will be effective when looking at social theories. But if once you get established in your new place, I would love to talk with you about that.
oh yeah, I plan on working on it.
Yeah, if you want, I can be an ally and assist you in that avenue if that's what you want to pursue.
Sure.
And what you just witnessed here, folks, is the power of honesty. Casket was honest about a biased behavior he had towards other fat people. Why? Because he doesn't like his size and he wants to change it. So, by being honest with himself, he was able to recognize and address certain attributes about himself. Remember the three places where you can change attributes: mental, emotional, and physical. He's decided that his physical needs work, and that takes honesty. Until you are honest with yourself, you can't make meaningful changes. Or it's incredibly difficult to make meaningful changes if you're not honest with yourself. Because to be honest is to take self accountability. To take a self accountability means that the results after you're honest with yourself absolutely is in your control. And if it's not, that's why you seek therapeutic assistance or medical intervention if necessary, right?
Yep. Oh god.
Casket's having a cough attack. Are you okay there, bud? Casket? I don't hear him anymore. We'll
Sorry,
oh,
I muted myself. I'll be
it's
alright.
okay. Are you okay?
Yeah, I just didn't want to cough in everybody's ear.
That's okay. But also, I want to take a moment and say that tomorrow we're going to be talking about vulnerability and the importance of that. And so, if you enjoy hearing about mental health like strategies and avenues to improve yourself and improve those within your life, then make sure you subscribe. And if you don't want to do that, or if you are subscribed, I'd appreciate it greatly if you'd hit that thumbs up button. Mike, so the algorithm will know that this type of material can be shared out to others. And also give some love to Casket King for coming for today's live stream, if you don't mind in the chat, and I'd appreciate that greatly as well. But I and thank you, Casket, for being honest with yourself about something about you that you find necessary to change.
Well, like I said, I try to be honest with myself.
Hmm. Yeah, it's like one thing. One I remember you. I know that you've watched this as well in the past, but do you remember the Onion?
Does that work?
Yeah, the Onion that would make those satirical news network pieces.
Yeah, until they started becoming reality.
Well, they did this one segment, and I thought it was hilarious. And it was like 97% of men thinks that they could beat a tiger in a fist fight, and I'm like, yeah, that seems about right.
Yeah,
You
that
know,
does seem about right.
yeah, and the reason being is because most that's your ego trying to protect you from literal, things that you may not be able to do. That's your hype man, your ego going, yeah, you got this, you could do this, there ain't nothing wrong with you, you the best.
Yo, shout out to Driving Lever. What's up?
Driving lever, what did they say?
They said hi.
Hey, driving lever, welcome. I hope you're having a great day. I don't think I've heard your name around before, and if I have, I do apologize. um But yeah, so and also if you've missed the first half of this live stream, it's totally worth the rewatch. We're talking about the importance of self honesty and how that promotes growth. Because you can't grow as a person if you are not honest with yourself. And I appreciate you being here.
Yeah, no problem, man.
Yeah. So King, so when after you're honest with yourself, like I said, you've got your emotional, your mental, and physical. Like to be honest with yourself, and to instead of just sitting on the back burners, like a lot of times people are really prone to do things they don't like about themselves. They'll put on the back burners and ignore at all cost, even at the cost of death. It's in some cases by taking the strength, and it does take strength to be honest with yourself, taking strength and saying and writing down a list of everything you like and parts of you that are challenges to you. By recognizing the challenges, by writing a couple of lists, you can say, okay, great. Now I know. Now I know I have a bias towards blah blah blah, or now I know that I've been projecting in this way, or I know that maybe I'm what I don't like. Maybe you could say something like, I like helping others, but I don't like it when people take advantage of me. So what do you do? How do you find a balance there? You're being honest that you want to help others, you feel good when you do it, but you feel like sometimes you're taken advantage of. So that is going to be like that scenario right there, being honest. That type of scenario is going to be the topic for Wednesday, and that is going to be the power of or the importance of how am I going to word it? The importance of boundaries and how to set them and how to speak with others about setting healthy boundaries. Everybody needs those, but that's going to be the talking point for Wednesday. Tomorrow's talking point is going to be on. Oh no, I'm drawing a blank on the power of vulnerability, and Wednesday is the importance of boundaries. And so Monday through Friday, I do live streams like this from 8 until about 8:45 to 9:30, depending on comments. And yeah, so if you're watching this and that seems like your cup of tea, then welcome. Now, like I stated, it takes a lot of strength to be honest with oneself
It
because
does.
the courage required, because changing one's personality or emotional, like imbalance or dysregularity, or even let's say an IQ, like let's say it's mental, let's say that you're not happy with your education level, and so you want to try to receive more education, or you want to learn a new task, whether it be playing an instrument or a second language or something of that nature, right? Mental acuity is absolutely on the list as well. Maybe you're not on, maybe that's something that someone would feel, um, like vulnerable about speaking of, or feel, like maybe that's a point in which they have contention within themselves, right?
Hmm.
And by recognizing where you have those challenges within you supports growth, because shining light on those challenges is the best way to start the process of changing them. Yeah, sure, but they can change by accident or by happenstance. Maybe there's external environmental changes that result directly in changement of emotional state, mental state, or physical, right? Of course, that's a thing. But also by taking accountability, you're basically putting fertilizer on the grass, and you're allowing that change to happen faster by recognizing and using the observer effect, by observing and recognizing, acknowledging, and realizing that there's something that you may not like about you.
We got a
I don't
comment
like
from
the fact that I.
Ross.
Sorry, go ahead.
It says, "Amen. This is the most real two people ever."
Who said that?
Ross.
Ross, I appreciate you, my person. I don't know if you're a dude or chick, so you are my person. Don't tell my girlfriend I said that. She would absolutely be like, "No, I'm your person." No, she wouldn't slap me, but yeah, because being honest and taking accountability will take you to the moon. You know, like I stated, I don't like the fact that I had negative biases towards people with disabilities. And while I was going blind, I projected that on myself, and that's what kept me from learning blind skills for so long. That my own biased tendencies put me behind. If I was honest with myself and I just went for it, but once I realized that I was biased against myself because I'm also biased towards other people's with disabilities, because every time that I would interact with one in grade school, I remember a puppet show that they did in my grade school. And in this puppet show, it was literally about people with disabilities. And at the time, I think they were doing something right, but the way that I remember the puppet show, like I think I was in third grade at the time, and it was great. I was like, "Holy crap, I love puppets!" This is my the Muppets in real life, freaking awesome. They had a puppet in a wheelchair. They had a blind puppet. They had a puppet that was missing an arm. It was all about disabilities, right? They had a puppet that had cognitive processing problems, and then they had regular puppets, and they were going through a school day, and there was some sort of school event, and so they were all getting together and stuff, and they were showing, like, oh, Jacob's in a wheelchair now, and all the kids would come up to him and be like, "Hey, Jacob, how are you doing today? That's good. I'm so happy for you." And so, and they did that in the entire time with all of the disabled puppets. They kept pandering to them in a way like they would speak to a child, but all of the non-disabled puppets would just talk to each other like normal, right? But anytime there was a disabled puppet around, they would talk like they were talking to. So, like, that's where that came from, and I would never have known that if I wasn't honest with myself, and if I didn't realize I was projecting, because I had a bias thing that I learned from childhood, right? So once I was able to figure out where that came from, I was able to make those changes, grow as a person, learn the blind skills, go to graduate school, like, you know what I mean. So that's the whole process of growth, man. Let's grow. Let's all just be honest with who we are. We're all beautiful, and a part of beauty is the fact that we're flawed. So recognizing your flaws is just another form of beauty. Thoughts, King? Take over. Speak for a minute.
Well, I have low self-esteem, so I don't agree completely.
Okay, let's hear it.
I don't think I'm very beautiful.
Buddy, you're so beautiful in my eyes.
How do I put this?
With words, my friend.
Well, Krusty,
Yeah?
you haven't seen what I look like in a very long time.
That's true. Because I'm a blind mofo. Yeah, that was a joke. Well, okay. So you have. All right, let's talk about it. You said you don't think you're beautiful.
That's correct.
Yeah, and what did you say before that? You said I have low self esteem.
Yeah.
So what?
Ross says, "Bro, you're a baddie." Thank you.
Yeah, bro, you're a. You know what? I love your honesty, but I have to respectfully disagree with you, my man. I love you, King. I mean that wholeheartedly. You're one of the most beautiful people I know. So you have low self esteem. Where does that come from? I'd love to explore that with you. Let's be more honest. Like, what is it about you that causes your low self esteem? Let's be real.
Oh man, I took a lot of shit during school
Hmm.
and from my old man.
Hmm.
So that kind of destroyed my self esteem and self confidence.
Right. So what's been the negative results of? So you've had low self confidence and low self esteem for the majority of your life. I'm hearing.
Pretty much. There was a time when I had confidence, but that was long, long ago.
Hmm. So and after you lost your confidence a long time ago, how has that impacted your life?
Oh, a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't leave. I barely leave the house.
Hmm.
I don't talk to people.
You talk to
I don't
me.
even like. Yeah.
Well, brother, that I would love to help you with your self esteem as well. What like when you so it sounds like you just have a low value within yourself. Would that be correct?
Yeah.
Hmm. It pains me to hear that, my man. I just want to be honest with you. Because you are one of the most like realist people that I've known in my life. You're my best friend, and I love you, man. And and I just I can want whatever I want for you. And obviously I want you to feel good with yourself. But that's not how change is made. If I want something for you, that doesn't make change. What does make change, brother?
Uh, I have to want it.
There you go. You do. You have to want it. You have to find a reason why you want it and hold on to it. It goes back to logos therapy. I love the logos therapeutic model. Why is it important for you to want it? Why is it important for you to want to have self-esteem? I know an answer, but if I give you an answer, it won't matter. It's not personal to you.
Oh, I have no idea.
Well, can you promise me that you'll think on it and you don't have and here's the thing, you don't have to come up with an answer today. You don't have to come up with an answer next week. But I just want you to let that little seed of a question, populate within your brain and just let it sit there. And maybe one day you'll have that eureka moment as to why it would be important to you. Will you at least give me that promise, my man?
Dude, I swear I can feel the earth moving.
Okay. And to the comment section, I'd love to hear your opinion on how being honest with yourself has
I
improved
think I
you.
need to take off my glasses and remove myself from the fumes.
Yeah, that might be a good idea, brother.
Oh.
Hmm. Might be a good idea, my man. What time is it, by the way?
uh, about 8 to 50, give or take.
All right, so we've been live for an hour. I want to go ahead and state again, if you can hit that thumbs up button, I'd appreciate you greatly. If you're not subscribed and you made it to this point, think about it. Remember, tomorrow's episode, we're going to be talking about the power of vulnerability, followed by Wednesday, which is the importance of boundaries. And my goal by doing this is to help you, the viewer, be able to understand yourself better and to help those in your life understand themselves better so that everyone can have a little more empathy and love. That's my goal. And I hope that you learned something today. And I hope that you'll be back tomorrow at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard because I would sure as heck love for you to be here. But we're going to go ahead and end it here, and we will be back, or I'll be back tomorrow. Maybe the king will join me. We'll see.
You
And
never know when I might pop up.
you never know. But we'll talk to you later. Have a wonderful night.